Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of the Alliance's Summer 2021 Empowerment Rally, Activating Advocacy for All. We have had a wonderful week. We started on Monday, July 19th. We have gone each and every day, and our final day is today, Friday, July 23rd, 2021. Today is day 5. And the Alliance is so proud to be an initiative of the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities. So what are we going to rally around this week? And I probably should say, what have we rallied around this week? Well, day 1 on Monday was all about advocacy and leadership. Day 2, we stretched our advocacy muscles in learning about rights and empowerment. Day 3 was Wednesday, and that was all about legislative advocacy. That was so exciting. I really enjoyed learning about where we've come and where we're going. Day 4 yesterday on Thursday was about wellness. We took it down a bit and we talked all about wellness for our bodies, wellness for our minds, wellness for our spirits. And today is day 5, our final day where we wrap it all up. It's our call to action, the future of self-advocacy for ourselves, for our agencies or communities, for our state, and for the nation. So let's get ready. I hope you have all your supplies. I know I do. Your Activating Advocacy for All rally handout. We are going to look at that again today. Hope you have an ink pen or something else to write with. Don't forget our rally Zoom cards so you can speak up and speak out, not only with your voice, not only with the chat box, but with your Zoom cards. And to that, I say, awesome. Perhaps you are sporting your rally bracelet, and maybe you have on your Alliance t-shirt. And I have learned that if you don't have your Alliance t-shirt yet, they are printing and mailing them even as we speak. So Tara, next slide. So as a reminder, our Activating Advocacy for All rally handout, there's 2 sides. Side 1 takes us through every day, and there's an opportunity for you to put your goals on this side. Side 2 is getting to know me, where we get to think through some things and share information about ourselves. So we're going to be wrapping that up today. Our Zoom rally cards. I don't know about you, but my cards have gotten a workout. Yes, yes, they have. These have been a lot of fun, and I hope that not only you were able to use your rally cards throughout each of the days this week, but you can continue using your rally cards. Maybe use them during WOW meetings. Maybe you will join us for our Relationships on Tap or some of our other meetings like Healthy Living Chit Chat. Maybe you'll use them during your self-advocacy group meetings, or maybe use them at home, or maybe use them at Community Day services. No matter how you use them, remember, it is just another way to speak up and speak out. So a little bit of housekeeping. American Sign Language, or ASL, and real-time captioning are being provided for all of our accessibility needs. If you would like real-time captioning or seeing the words on the screen, go ahead to the bottom of your screen, click on the CC button, and then show subtitle to see the live transcript. The ASL interpreters have been spotlighted to keep their video at the top of your screen. Please try and stay muted in listen-only mode. That enhances the experience for everyone by decreasing that background noise. please message me, Christine Beck, if you have any questions or concerns. Use the chat box to share comments and ask questions. I have really enjoyed seeing all the comments and seeing the questions, and I've enjoyed having you speak up and speak out in that way throughout each day of the rally. Use your Zoom advocacy cards to speak up and speak out. Don't forget, we have that raffle drawing at the end of each day. We want you to continue having fun, learning with and from each other. And we do have a break. But if your body needs a break before or after that scheduled time, honor your body. That's part of wellness. Honor your body and take the break. All right. I was really excited to put together today's word cloud based on yesterday's comments and chats. And yesterday was all about wellness. And some of the words in this word cloud include relationships and body and corn and friends and stretching and healthy and apples and family and mindfulness and swimming. And these are all the words that we talked about yesterday. And so I was really excited to see how this word cloud would turn out. Thank you for participating in that. And so, Tara, take it away.
All right. Thanks, Christine. That was awesome. We are so excited for our last day of the rally. Thank you all for tuning in every day. This has been such an incredible week and such a dream come true for us at the Alliance. This is the biggest event we've ever done, 5 days long, 2.5 hours a day. So we took on a lot, and we're really thrilled with how it's turned out. And we're really excited to, like Christine said, bring everything home today. So we're going to do a couple things. We're going to talk about the future of self-advocacy, and really that is something that's in flux, right? There's no, we're not the end all be all at the Alliance. We want to hear from you. Today it's really going to be important for all of you to share your thoughts and input with what you think and feel the future of self-advocacy should look like in Illinois. So we really are going to rely on audience participation today. So get your typing fingers ready to get into that chat box. So we're going to talk about the future of services in Illinois and what we want that to look like. And also, like I said, that future of self-advocacy. We're going to do a little bit of goal setting, action planning, and recap the whole week. Okay, Adam.
Ready, set, go.
Okay, so every journey begins with that first step. So self-advocacy. This is something that's really been the thread that's kept us all going this whole week. So self-advocacy, what is self-advocacy, Adam?
It's where you speak up and speak out about what is important to you.
Right. And so we use the pieces of the self-advocacy puzzle that you see on the screen. So who, what, where, when, how, and why. And so we're going to keep on going with that. And we already talked about what self-advocacy is. So Tamaris, can you give us a little recap of what self-advocacy is?
What self-advocacy is? It's actually a lot of things, like believing in yourself, having the power to say what's on your mind, having the power to knowing the knowledge that goes on around, having the power to speak up for yourself, having the power to let your voice be heard, having the power to say the things you want for your life and all that, and having the power to what's that word? To having the power to set what type of goals you want within your CIP plans, your discovery plans, or just basically just having the power just to speak up and speak out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tamaris. All right, so Tamaris, let's start off with what's on the screen. Can you read our first opportunity for folks to speak up and speak out?
And I'm a self-advocate.
All right, if you're a self-advocate, use your rally cards to show us.
All right, this is Christine, and we are not only seeing a lot of green rally cards that, yes, I am a self-advocate, we also have folks that are speaking up and speaking out through typing into the chat box, yes, I am a self-advocate. And to that, I say, awesome.
All right. Okay, so this is a slide that we use for a different presentation that we did with our funder, the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities, just a couple weeks ago, maybe over a month ago now. And so these are the things that, we are hoping to see happen for the future of services in Illinois. Okay, so when we talk about systems, remember on the second or third day, we talked about systems that help us, and how do we invest in the systems that serve all of us, right? And so some of the hopes and dreams that continue to come up for self-advocates or people with disabilities who are served by our system in Illinois are real choice and power, healthy relationships, health and wellness, community involvement, community housing, transportation, and then lastly, work and money. So two of these big ones I want to highlight are community involvement and community housing. So remember when we talked a couple days ago about entitlements and how our state in particular can be more skewed towards institutionalization, right? That's sort of just the way it is. And there's a lot of advocacy that we can and should do to make sure that people have more choice, right? So real choice and power. So these are some of the hopes and dreams that the Alliance, the Council, some of our big partners have for all of you in our state. So we're going to talk about, what are the things that you really care about? Because after all, you are the ones that we serve. And so we want to hear from you to really make sure that we're on track with this, okay? All right, Tavares?
Let's talk about legislative politics.
Wow, let's talk about legislative priorities. So we're gonna do some polling here, and we really want to hear from you. So we're gonna count on you all to show us your cards. And Christine, if you could take note on what you're seeing, just to make sure that we are where we're supposed to be. And then we're gonna do an actual poll using Zoom. So let's get into it. Tavares, let's review the Better Care Jobs Act.
Said Better Care Job Act 1. Better Care Job Act proposes a $400 billion investment in Medicaid, home, and community-based services. HCBS to explain the access to the virtual services and creating more and better direct care jobs.
Yeah, so this is something, remember we talked about these a couple days ago. So we're just gonna go through them and we want to hear from you. Is this something that you want us to prioritize? So the Better Care Jobs Act is something that's being proposed right now, and it's investment to home and community-based services, which is something we desperately need. Remember we talked about how there's still over 17,000 people on the PUNS list waiting for services. So that's definitely something that we think that we should we should work on. So we want to hear from you. But also, just to kind of reiterate, when this bill becomes a law, fingers crossed, it will provide more funding to the states to focus on improving those services and expand services for people, and then also create more and better direct care jobs for the workforce and staff that provide those services. Okay, so Tavares, what is our question for folks?
I want to focus on Better Care Jobs, Better Jobs Act.
Okay, so tell us with your cards, do you want to focus on the Better Care Jobs Act? Yes or no?
All right, this is Christine, and I'm seeing a lot of yeses. And remember, when we go through these, you can vote yes on whatever one speaks to you. You can vote no if it doesn't speak to you. We also have folks that are chiming in using the chat box. Okay, thank you. I see a no from a couple of people. I appreciate you saying no if that doesn't speak to you. We have some folks in the chat that are saying yes, that it is important to focus on the Better Care, Better Jobs Act. All right. So it looks like the majority of folks are saying yes.
All right, great. And just to let folks know, you can vote for as many as you want. All right, Adam, tell us about our next priority area.
All Stations Accessibility Program Act, ASAP. All Stations Accessibility Program, ASAP Act of 2021. This legislation aims to help make public transportation systems more accessible to passengers with disabilities. Click here to find your legislators and send an email about this bill.
Okay, so I want to focus on the All Stations Accessibility Program ASAP Act. Is that something that you all want to focus on, or you envision the Alliance doing some advocacy around? Yes or no? Is this something we should prioritize?
All right, and this is Christine. I just want to remind everyone that Jay Jin is putting links in the chat. Jay Jin, I think some of those links might have gone to folks in the waiting room. So let's make sure we are getting it to everybody so you can check out those links. So in the chat, I do have people that are saying yes, they would like to focus on the All Station Accessibility Program, or ASAP Act. All right, I am seeing a lot of green cards saying, yes, we want better accessibility in travel. Thank you, Annie, for showing activating advocacy for all. I appreciate that because that is so important. So it's looking like, yes, people think that is really important. People want to travel. They want to go places.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next up we have, really we're talking about social supplemental security income, the Restoration Act of 2021. So at the federal level, this would raise disability income levels to the poverty level, which means a 30% increase in funds for those of you who receive SSI. So this is really an important piece of legislation that would also allow you to save more money and have more money in your bank account. Currently, there's a lot of restrictions on how much money you can keep, what can be in your bank account, and it's really, it makes getting kicked off of services really kind of a reality for a lot of folks, right? So it would also update outside income restrictions without benefit reduction. So that's a really important thing. And also it would remove the marriage ban, which is something that we talk about pretty often, and promote marriage equality. So for those of you who are interested in getting married, you would be able to without losing your benefits. So there you go. Okay, so if you want to focus on the SSI Restoration Act, let us know. Is this something that's important to you or important for people with disabilities? Tell us what you think.
All right. So I'm seeing a lot of greens. Cards are up in the air. Yes. Yes. I'm seeing some awesomes. I'm seeing folks use the chat box to say yes. I'm also seeing folks use the Zoom reactions to say yes. So, wow, there's lots of different ways to speak up and speak out. And the overwhelming majority is yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much. All right, and then here's the Illinois state version, which of the supplemental security income bill. So this would provide more money again. So this is at the state level, and then it would help Illinois residents qualify as a cost of living adjustment. And then also this would help people with disabilities who are undocumented so that they can also receive more money as well. So if you want to focus on the state version, Illinois State House Bill 3920, let us know.
All right, I am seeing yeses. Michelle, Kevin. Yeah, Ada S. McKinley's in the house. Yes, I am seeing yeses there. Billings, yes. Renee at TCRC, Derek, KCCDD, Annie, thank you. Annie is saying awesome. Appreciate that. Looks like yeses.
Wonderful. Okay, Derek, what's our next topic?
Okay, hold on 1 minute. Okay, workforce. Oh, DSPS, the third and living wage.
Living wage, yeah.
Okay, we want good staff who care about us.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so this topic is workforce. So this talks about DSP, so direct support professionals. So this is your staff. Do we want to rally around and organize around this issue to make sure that DSPs are paid a living wage? Okay, so Derek, what does this say?
I want to focus on workforce.
Yes or no? All right. Do you want the Alliance to focus on workforce? Do you want yourself to focus on workforce? Is this something that you feel is important and worthwhile?
All right, I'm seeing yeses from New Star Services in Chicago Heights. Yes, I'm also seeing yeses from, let's see, Ada S. McKinley, TCRC, Lindsay has a yes. Thank you, Annie. I'm seeing a lot of yeses, whether they are with your Zoom rally cards, they are with the Zoom reactions you can click on, and in the chat box.
Woo! Okay, great. Okay, Adam, what's our last piece of legislation?
Equality Act. The Equality Act would provide consistent and explicit anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people across key areas of life, including employment, housing, credit, education, public spaces and services, federal funded programs, and jury service.
Okay.
Click here to email members of Congress and ask them to support the Equality Act.
All right, so the Equality Act is definitely something that we want to be thinking about, right? So this is to support our loved ones and friends and colleagues and fellow self-advocates who maybe identify as LGBTQ. So the Equality Act is a piece of legislation that it's really about anti-discrimination and something that we desperately need in our country right now. So Adam, what is it we want to ask folks?
I want to focus on the Equality Act.
All right, do you want to focus on the Equality Act, or is this something that you feel like the Alliance should share more information about or do some advocacy around? Let us know. Yes, no, maybe so.
All right, this is Christine, and we are seeing a lot of yeses in the chat box. And in addition to the yes, we have some I will support others who focus on it. Wow, so that's wonderful. I'm seeing a lot of yes cards. Yes, and I am seeing Kevin is showing, I think, a pillow with a rainbow heart on it that says love. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. Love wins. Thank you. Yes, so
that.
we are seeing a lot of yeses. Thank you so much for speaking up and speaking out.
That makes my heart feel good. It's all about supporting each other, right? And I think in the disability rights movement, we can definitely support others in different marginalized communities. So we're going to hear from Jada, and as we talk through what the future of self-advocacy should look like. So we're hoping that this video will get you thinking about what your role might be and how you can help with the future of self-advocacy. So Jada, let's hear from her.
Wow, so that's a really, really huge question. One thing that I'm definitely really hoping for in the future for self-advocacy is really just legislators and senators, governors, public officials, just to give us a chance to actually speak out and just hear our concerns. Because as of now, I feel like we're kind of in that direction, but there's always a room for improvement. So if we have more public officials who gives us a chance to actually hear us out and hear what we have to say, I think that we will definitely head towards the right direction. And there have been times where self-advocates are not being taken seriously because they don't really see us as superior. They don't see us as smart. They think that all of us just act or think the same way. So I think that if we continue to educate public officials and legislators and, be able to share our stories and our testimonies and the things that we're passionate about, we'll definitely be heading towards a brighter future.
All right, there we go. Okay, Tavares.
Here. Okay, let's talk about challenges and opportunities in Illinois. Good topic.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. We're going to hear from 3 individuals around the state of Illinois, and they're gonna answer a couple of questions for us. So we want to get you all thinking about some of the challenges that come with having a disability. Maybe it has to do with where you live, or physically challenges that you have, or challenges receiving services. What are some of those barriers that you face, and what are the issues that are important to you? So we're gonna start with Jada. So is Jada here and spotlighted? And I want to thank our tech team for working on all of this while I can't usually see everything, so I'm just kind of relying on.
This is Christine, and we are looking for Jada. I am not seeing her right now. So perhaps we could go on to the next person.
For sure. Jayjin, if you're there, if you would be able to, Jayjin or Noel, if one of you would be able to check in with Jada and see if she's going to be joining us, that would be wonderful. So we're going to move on to Sue Bauer, who lives in Central Illinois. And Sue is part of the Alliance Board of Directors. So take it away, Sue. We're gonna actually ask you a couple of questions. So if you can tell us where you live first.
I live in Jacksonville, Illinois, which is about 30 miles from Springfield, if people who don't know where Jacksonville is. And, the challenges where I live is Jacksonville is a really small town, and we don't have the services here that the bigger places do. We don't even have you know, uh, a selection for shopping, for groceries. I have to go to Springfield to get better prices, better produce, and things like that. And traveling 30 miles, transportation is such a difficult thing, because you have to go to Springfield for your doctor's appointments. You have to go there to shop. And, you know, living on disability, your budget is so restricted that, those trips are very, very expensive. You know, if you take a car, it takes $20 or more in gas just to go there. But if you have to take a taxi, it's like $60 to go one way to Springfield. And that makes things just almost impossible. And, you know, the next question is issues that are important to me. I think that, the Fair Wage Act, where, we're paid a, a decent wage for what we do, is very important. And also, I live in my own home, but without services, I could not stay here. I would be back in a supported living or nursing home, which is where I came from. It would just not be a very good quality of life.
So it sounds
And
like, investing in home and community-based services is something that we really need to prioritize, right? Making sure that people have the options to live in their own homes or live in the community. And Sue, as someone who you've talked a little bit about, being kind of in and out of nursing homes when you have health issues, and so that is something that can be really hard for folks to navigate, and it is more costly when folks are in nursing homes, but that might not be what they want. So thank you for speaking to that for sure. What are some of the legislative priorities that you want us to focus on besides HCBS funding? And it sounded like maybe you were hinting at, sheltered work. And so making sure that people with disabilities who do work aren't making sub minimum wages. Tell me if that's where you were kind of headed. And also you're on mute. Sue, you're muted. There we go.
is that better?
Yep.
Yes, that is what I was talking about, because I have several friends who are able to work in the workshops, and it's wonderful that they can do that, but they're not being paid a fair wage for what they do, and if they were paid a fair wage, they could have a better quality of life.
Right.
It's not just, give us busy work to keep our minds occupied. It needs to be something that we're actually contributing, not just, give us paper clips to count or whatever. We want to do something that actually matters and to get paid a fair wage for what we're doing.
Right. Awesome. Okay, and then how can the Alliance help advocates feel more connected to each other?
Well, the Alliance, we have a wonderful website, and we have our WOW meetings and things, and that keeping people connected, even though it's by computer and technology, you know, is a good thing. Now, in our action club here in Jacksonville, which I was just elected president of for the 2021-22 year. For this year, I was just elected president, and I am just very honored that they trust me to help lead our group. But we're just now starting to have face-to-face meetings because most of us have been vaccinated, and it's a good thing. But the Alliance also gives us opportunities to learn different things and be involved with what's going on around us, not to just accept things as status quo. We can make a difference, and we do. You know, even here in Jacksonville, we can make a difference in what's going on around us. We may not be able to change the whole world, but we can change things in our world.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Sue. Anything else you want to share before we move on to Jada? And you are muted again.
I know, I know. I mute things when I'm not talking because I have my little chihuahua here and she gets kind of vocal sometimes, and I didn't think everybody wanted to hear her barking.
All right, any final thoughts?
No, that's it for me, honey.
Thank you so much, Sue. Woo, activating advocacy for all. All right, let's go back to Jada. So
Hello.
Jada, hi, Jada.
Hi.
We have been watching your videos all week. Everyone is so thrilled that you shared your perspective and thoughts with us. So we wanted to just check in with you and ask you a couple questions. If you see on the screen, would you be able to answer some of these questions? So start by telling us who you are, where you live.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Jada Thompson, and I currently live in Chicago, specifically on the South Side.
Okay, and so what are the challenges where you live?
Ooh, wow. I have a whole list.
Okay, let us hear it.
Okay, so one of them being lack of resources, because I'm in a part of a city where we don't really get a lot of funding for the things that we truly need. It's really hard, and growing up, I had a hard time with schooling because I couldn't get the services that I really need, and I just wasn't really taken seriously as a person with a disability. And my mom, she had to fight for me a lot because I really had a lot of behavioral issues, and a lot of the schools that I went to just weren't educated on disability and so forth. So my mom had to fight just to get me to a really good school, which eventually it did work, but it took a very, very long time. Also, just with housing and well, just accessibility as a whole.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So thank you for sharing. You know, the challenges that exist even in Chicago. I think that there's definitely an assumption that, you know, life is better in the big city and that we have all that we need here, right? And I think that you're kind of showing that it depends on where you live, right? And certain communities are underinvested in, and you know, the south and west sides of Chicago are, you know, there's huge challenges with how we're supporting folks in those communities. So, or not supporting folks, right? So schooling, housing, we know that there's a lot of food deserts where people don't have like Sue, don't have access to grocery stores, fresh produce, organic produce, right? And so jobs, there's all kinds of things that kind of go hand in hand. So what are some of the barriers that people with disabilities face in your community?
Oh wow, access to jobs, access to transportation and different services. And I say that because a lot of people, they come from, usually a lot of them are pretty low, from low income housing. So they don't really have the funds and the resources, just like, any other, a non-black disabled peers. So they have to deal with the obstacles of just lack of funding, lack of resources. A lot of disabled people don't really know a lot about the opportunities, that they have. And if they do, there are some barriers that go to it, like paying for transportation or even getting Social Security. So those are really some of the things that they deal with, as well as just, a lot of them still stay with their parents, and even just, not even just living in, different housing, but just being able to, just live independently, and not a lot of them have that luxury.
Mm. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think that that's definitely something that for me as a support person, I see that. There's a lot of folks with disabilities who, if they have families who can help make that happen, where they're in, they're able to have their own condos or their own apartments, that can be a privilege, right? Not every person with a disability is going to have those opportunities for many reasons. And so that's something that we kind of want to be thoughtful of and mindful of, that if that's something that you have, like, what can we do to make sure that we're reaching back to pull up other people, right? And in our communities and in other communities that maybe don't have as many resources as ours. So what are some of the legislative priorities that are important to you, Jada, that you feel like the Alliance should focus on, and just advocates in general? What's important to you?
For me, definitely intersectionality, as well as, just opportunities and housing for low income, for people with disabilities that live in low income communities. I think that, people, they talk about people with disabilities, in um, about independence, but the problem is a lot of them don't really have that intersectional part. And I feel like a lot of individuals like myself, they're often left out in those conversations. And a lot of them are under guardianships, and a lot of them don't really have that opportunity to learn how to be independent, or even just being independent overall. So just having, just making sure that, the financial, making sure that they're able to, um, wow, let me word this up very carefully. Making sure that they're able to have the resources, so that way they can be financially independent and be able to, do the things that, uh, they want to do. Because a lot of people think that people with disabilities, they just have this childlike attitude. And I think that for me and my, community, a lot of people are not educated, um, when it comes to disabilities. They only see it as one sided. They only see people a certain way, but people don't realize, our community don't really realize that disability is truly intersectional. It always has been. But society, unfortunately, tends to, uh, perceive it or just promote it as something that's very one sided. And I think that it needs to be broadened. It needs to be widened, and especially with, just finance, with the, housing and, wow, housing, just job opportunities, etc.
Yeah, I appreciate your comments about intersectionality because that's definitely something that can be missed from advocacy movements, right? We kind of have these silos where it's because of funding or, you know, movements that are existing simultaneously, right, at the same time. So we have, for example, we have like the Pride movement for the queer community. We have Black Lives Matter. We have disability rights advocates. And I think sometimes we don't always reach across to see how we can, support each other. And the fact that, disability is one of those things that exists in all of those movements. 1 in 4 people is disabled. Many people will become disabled as they age. And so this is something that we want to be thoughtful of our brothers and sisters who are in this with us. And so what are the things that they're dealing with in their communities? And I appreciate you shedding light on some of the things that are happening where you live. And then the last question we have is, how can the Alliance help advocates feel more connected to each other? What can the Alliance do in the future to make some of this work a bit easier for people where you live?
So for me, I would say definitely collaborate with more grassroots organizations in the area, especially in the city of Chicago. I think that there's a lot of grassroots organizations that exist in Chicago, and I know about maybe a couple that are really, really good. And I think that if we reach out to more of the grassroots that already work on those things, I think that if we try to include make sure that those organizations are being inclusive. I think that that's the best way to go because sometimes they already have things set in stone, but oftentimes they may not know, and some of them are truly learning when it comes to disability. So I think that when you reach out to those particular organizations, I think that there's a way to help have spark those conversations, and eventually more people would get involved. And people kind of underestimate the power of collaborations because people think that if they just reach out they won't do anything, but sometimes you just gotta have an open mind, and you gotta kind of you gotta make sacrifices. So I think when you collaborate with more grassroots type organizations and just do more networking, I think that would definitely help. More individuals be connected to the alliance. I feel like more people would know more about the alliance when you collaborate with more grassroots organizations.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I know you talked about being sort of undervalued and underappreciated or underestimated. I know as a disabled person, for me, that's something that I've experienced since I was very young with doctors and teachers. And, I'm curious to hear from folks out there. Have you ever felt underestimated? And how did that make you feel? Jada, I'm wondering if you could clarify, what does intersectionality mean? What does that mean to you for folks who may not have heard that before?
To me, I would consider intersectionality as inclusivity plus the group underrepresented groups. So we already have inclusion, which means to include other people, but there are subgroups, there are other groups that are underrepresented. You have the LGBT plus community, you have the brown community, you have the black community, and then you have people. You already have the disabled community, and you have all those sub communities that usually are pretty forgotten about. So basically, if you're a woman, you're a black woman, or if you're part of the LGBT or even brown community, or like a religious community that's often forgotten about. That means that you are including those communities in those conversations. So intersectional really means being to me kind of like being inclusive times 1,000.
Yeah, I would say inclusive, and also taking it from inclusion to like equity, right?
Yeah.
Where we're seeing more and more that people are included like at the table, but is it equitable? Do we have representation from minority communities? And I would also include the AAPI, the Asian Pacific Islander community
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah, and just like how are we, in all the spaces we're in, when we look around, who are we missing? And I think for me, intersectionality is sort of like when you think about your identities, how do those intersect? How do those kind of cross? So I identify as a white cisgender female, and so those are things, and I'm disabled, so that's an intersection for me. But I'm not I don't identify in a minority community, so I think those are intersections that we have. The religious aspect that you talked about, or where you live. I think that to me, that's what intersectionality means. If anyone else wants to share through the chat, I'm going to pause to check in with Christine to see what is happening in the chat and kind of catch us up to speed, and see if we have any questions for Jada before we move on to Michelle.
All right, this is Christine, and thank you for this space to share what is happening in the chat. People say that when they are made to feel less than, it makes them mad, that they have experienced that. Not only mad, but being hurtful. And Tavares said, yes, he has, and it made him be stronger. Curtis said, yes, and he was told that he really needed to be realistic, that he couldn't live independently and even go to college and do well. Well, you know what? Curtis proved them wrong, especially in college. And Jenny says, the developmental disabilities is a big group, and we didn't talk a lot about them this week. The WOW leader from the Lake County Center for Independent Living has cerebral palsy, and she really needs a wheelchair. We didn't talk about physical developmental disabilities much. So thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. We're going to put that on our radar as we continue to move forward. Kevin says, yes, he has felt less than, and it gave him the motivation for self advocacy. My disability labels have changed many times, and I think other people have felt that way too. Education is key. My university's person had no disabilities, and I had to educate them. So thank you for that. Sue said she's had to fight for things her whole life, but she's advocated for herself and worked very hard to go to college. Um, a question for Jada is, how do you like being a member of a self-advocacy group?
Uh, I would say for me, being a part of a self advocacy group makes me feel more included and makes me feel like the opinions that I have or the concerns that I have matter. So, especially when being a part of a group with other individuals with disabilities, it helps me feel valued, and we're able to work on things and collaborate on things, um, just as a whole, and we're able to just work together. And I think it's pretty good having that teamwork, because I'm a person that doesn't like to work alone, and to be able to work with other individuals with the same concerns that I have, and even working with other individuals who have, I would say, a better experience than I have. Um, it feels amazing. It's truly amazing.
All right, Christine, we ready to move on?
Yes, let me get our next speaker, Michelle,
Thanks so much.
all ready to go. Michelle, I've asked you to unmute so that you can share about your experiences living in Southern Illinois.
Okay, did it not take?
Oh, hi, Michelle. Can you hear us?
Unmute.
All right, Michelle,
Okay,
can you?
yes.
All right, you are ready to go. You and Tara, take it away.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Michelle, tell us about yourself. Where do you live?
I live in Wood River, Illinois, in HUD housing.
Okay, so you live in HUD housing. So that's the HUD stands for Housing and Urban Development. So that's really cool. That's definitely something that Jada just talked a little bit about.
Yes.
Housing, right? So what
Yes.
are the challenges and barriers that
My challenges I face are as old people they don't want the disabled here. They just want it to be an elder apartment.
Okay.
They tell me I'm gonna be kicked out.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Wow.
But I'm not really going to be kicked out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. That's really horrible. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. So what are some other challenges in your community besides at your building? What about transportation or
Well, because of COVID, I haven't took the buses much. I'm just going to be starting back up in August to go back to college.
Okay. All right. So is transportation an issue for other people in your community?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I know we heard that from Sue as well, where she lives in Central Illinois. What about shopping? Are there good stores to go? Is there a lot of healthy produce and vegetables and fruits?
It's so expensive. It's cheaper to buy the bad food than it is to buy the healthy food.
I hear ya. Yeah, it's cheaper to go to McDonald's and eat than it is to go to the grocery store and make a home cooked meal.
Yeah, and that's the sad to say, but it's the truth.
It's true, right? And that could lead to us being, kind of unhealthy, right? Which none of us need because we all got disability issues as it is, right?
Right.
Health
is
is
the truth.
something that for sure. So what about public housing? So you talked a little bit about you have public housing, and
yes.
People where they're still waiting for that, or maybe they're on the PUNS list, or how's that?
And also, well, I got it my list. The thing about puns, and things it blocked me, or I'm gonna do that real quick, is COVID-19. Okay, we get past the first COVID-19, I get my COVID shot. Oh, good. Now I can go back and do what I was doing before. I can go anywhere I want. And then the new COVID comes in. Now I'm back in my bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. And then some of my friends get SSI. They can't do as much because they don't have much money. They need some more money.
Okay.
Things I need the Lions to focus on is services to get off the PUNS list. They keep the services. I do not want them cut.
Okay.
No cuts.
No cuts. All right. What else?
Okay. And also to keep us connected when we do all the meetings on Zoom and everything, it's for the ones that have trouble typing and spelling. It'd be better like how we are right now. We are speaking, and we do that.
Okay.
Because if I didn't have my phone this week, and I know some other people might have trouble, I don't know, but I know I do. I would not have been able to been into do the typing.
Yeah.
I use Google.
Okay.
Spell
Yeah.
this.
It sounds like technology can be a really big barrier. I know that we've all
Yes.
pivoted because of COVID. We're doing a lot virtually, but that excludes people, especially people who
Right.
have trouble with reading and writing or
Right.
used technology. Some people with disabilities, especially IDD, don't have phones or iPads. That's a privilege, right?
And on Zoom, you can't use the speaker.
Yeah, right. So there can be just some tech issues, and if you don't have the technology, how can you participate? So
Right.
things that are, it can be kind of exclusive where, the folks that are on today, maybe you have staff supporting you or you have your own iPad or your own cell phone, but think about all the people that we're not able to talk with because they don't have technology. So
Right.
definitely something that I know there's been a lot of grants through the council and the ARC and the state to help kind of, make that more equitable. But I know there's definitely folks out there who are still struggling. So I think that that's really great that you brought that up. And COVID too, there's just that's a huge barrier for people. A lot of people
Oh yeah.
back to day.
It's been a big one for me.
Yeah. So are you someone that goes to like a day program typically? Or?
No.
Okay. Do you, what about working employment? Do you have a job?
No.
Okay. Yeah. And some folks, maybe that's been really hard for them, right?
Right.
Okay. Anything else you want to share?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank
If
you.
anyone has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Yeah. So Christine, tell us about the chat and,
Wow, we have had a lot of folks talking in the chat. Jenny says, when you are a young person with a disability, it can feel really weird because a lot of the programming is in the same department with senior citizens. So thanks. And Jenny, when Michelle, you were talking about it's really expensive. Food is expensive and the junk food is cheaper. Jenny says, that's what I said yesterday about the ho-hos. I do like a ho-ho every now and again. Tommy said, you can take door-to-door transportation. Maybe that helps with some worries about COVID. Curtis said that's why we have health-related issues of diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and cancer from lack of food deserts and healthy foods being expensive. Jenny said that's why self-advocates need to be running the show. Yes.
Oh, I like that one.
And regarding technical, Jenny says she prefers Zoom for closed captioning, and getting services in Illinois is so hard. Yes. So, and we had, thank you, Michelle, Jada, and Sue for sharing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that, technology has made participating a lot easier for folks. I know for me with chronic health issues and not feeling well, and there were times where driving all over the state of Illinois was killing me, literally. I mean, it was just making me so sick. And so being able to do things more remotely has helped me personally, but I know for some folks, the technology can be a real barrier. So I think that's a question that we have to think about. How do we make sure that we're including the most people at all times? So thank you all so much. Tavares, if you're still here, let's ask the audience a question.
Let's talk about barriers. What is getting in the way of living the life you want to live?
Yeah, thank you. So I know this is kind of negative, but it's important to talk about these things, right? We've talked about opportunities for legislation all week. We've talked about how we speak up and speak out, how we stay healthy. But what are the things that are just, the thorn in our side? What are the barriers that we have that we need to think more about that are preventing us from living full lives in our community? What's getting in the way? So we're going to take a second and Christine is going to share what's in the chat.
All right, we've got a lot of great things. The barriers people with disabilities face include a lack of awareness about their disability and understanding of how it might affect each person differently, living with invisible disabilities, staying employed and receiving support and understanding from employers in keeping their jobs. Someone else said, excuse me, not being able to drive a car is a barrier. A lack of funding for services, ableism, lack of resources, lack of affordable housing, not having a car and knowing how to drive it. I cannot get around independently and rely on others for transportation and public transportation. For other folks, what's getting in the way is wheelchair access. And Jermaine says, I don't have the living skills to be on my own right now.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, so continue to put those in the chat as you think about them. We really appreciate hearing from all of you. You know, I know we talk a lot about ableism and just the sort of like at first the barriers that we experience because we're disabled, right? The physical and mental barriers that we overcome every day before even leaving the house, you know, and then once we get out the door, what are all the things that are kind of falling in front of us? So thank you for sharing your perspectives with us. So Adam, what are we going to do now?
Speak up and speak out. Take the poll and share the things that get in the way.
Yeah, so we're going to do a couple polls. So this is, you know, and again, we're going to launch, Christine's going to launch a poll that's going to come on your screen. I know there's many of you who are in bigger groups. So we're going to pause for people to discuss. So what are the things that get in the way of you living the life to being more included? So our options are transportation, housing, staff, funding for services, and community work. So select all, or select whatever you feel like is are some of like the ones on the top.
Yes, and this is Christine. You can make a couple of selections. So if you think it's transportation and staff, you can check both of those. If you think funding for services and housing, you can check both of those. So you can check as many as what you feel are barriers for you.
Yeah, and so we're gonna definitely give this one a couple minutes because we want to make sure that if you're in a bigger group, you have the opportunity to kind of discuss that. So bear with us here. We're seeing the numbers go up. This is so fun. I love polls. When I do advocacy groups, people always really love to do a poll. So our most famous poll is dogs or cats. That's usually a popular one. So we kind of see what people are preferring there. Dogs seem to be the winner usually. Oh, okay, here we go. I love watching the numbers move. So we've got funding for services is kind of the front runner right now. And then once we've got a little more responses, we're gonna end the poll and share the results. Christine, any other comments in the chat while we're waiting, or I don't know if that's too challenging to manage right now.
Oh no, I can, let's see, I can look. Jenny says money pays for everything we need. So in the end, it's money.
Yeah, I was just talking with my husband last night. I said, gosh, all these people who say money can't buy you happiness. I disagree. I feel like that would solve a lot of problems in this world. You know, of course, money isn't, it's not everything, but when you don't have it, it can be really frustrating. So,
all right, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. Okay. And I'm going to share those results, and the results are.
Oh, all right. So it looks like transportation and funding for services. I'm going to take a little bit of a screenshot here just to have that. Yeah, so those are coming in hot, followed by closely by community work, then staff, and then housing. All right. So thank you for that. That was really exciting. Okay, and then Adam, we're gonna take another poll. So I guess you don't really need it. This next poll is gonna be about priority areas. So we're gonna rank them. So we really want to hear from you, if Christine, if you could launch, what are the things that, what is the most important thing that we need to work on? Christine, is this like a one option or is this multiple?
This is a one option, which is going to be, this is how we work together as a team sometimes when we are in a group of folks. We have to talk it out and say, okay, how many people think this? How many people think that? Perhaps you take a vote and that's the one that you pick.
All right, so our options are, the most important thing to work on is staff wages, housing options, more funding for services, community living, raising income limits, transportation, closing sheltered workshops, and lifting the marriage ban. So let us know, what is the most important thing? If we could only pick one, obviously we want to work on all of these, but what's the one thing that we need to do first?
All right, and while folks are taking that poll, I'm just gonna go through a couple of the comments. Money can buy you comfort, yes. And then for folks who have said, I don't have a car or I'm not able to drive, Jenny says, don't worry, those self-driving cars are coming soon. Coming sooner than we think. Curtis says, not being able to travel around the country and abroad, it's really expensive. Mary would like to lift the marriage ban. That is something that is important to her. So thank you for those comments in addition to your voting. So again, this is another way that we can speak up and speak out. We're doing it through voting in a poll. And it looks like about 50% of folks have voted.
Oh, here we go. Let's try to get to 60 or 65%.
All right, you can do it. We believe in you. Well, Domino's already has self-driving cars. I'm not sure if that happens in a big city. I don't think it's happening where I live. You know, as long as I can get my pizza hot and fresh, I'm good for that.
Yeah, right.
Let's see, we're at 58% of people voting. We can do it. I believe in you. You're awesome. All right.
Vote in the poll.
There you go. Yes, we're at 61. So we're going to go ahead and end polling. I'm going to share those results.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it looks like the winner is more funding for services. I love that. Okay, so, and then we're followed by, it looks like staff wages, raising income limits, and closing sheltered workshops are sort of tied for second. Okay, and then we've got all the rest kind of hanging out similarly. Well, thank you so much, everybody. That was really informative. And that, again, this helps the Alliance to think about what we need to prioritize, if and when we submit a new request for funding for a proposal, this will definitely shape what our application looks like, because we definitely want to make sure that we're representing all of you and what your concerns are, and of course, including you along on the journey. So thank you. Okay, so if you could get out your sheets, your worksheets, we're going to fill in this next question, which is, the people who know and care about me say. So what do people who know and care about you say?
And this is Christine. As people are chiming in, I really like what Garden Center had to say. We had a difficult time choosing just one, but had a great discussion about them all. And I really like that because I think when we are discussing and sharing, we come to some deeper relationships and understanding about what is important to each of us. And a reminder that even if the alliance doesn't work on everything all at once, you can still work on the things that are important to you.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So,
Like we're at our break time.
yeah, we're at our break. And Tari, you can go ahead and start that 15-minute timer.
All right, everyone. We'll see you.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed a bit of a break. I would like to share what some of you said in the chat box about the people who know and care about me say. So here we go. People who know me and say, I'm a good friend or I'm awesome and I rock. Yes, they say, great job and you're funny. I like that one. You are awesome and beautiful. I like that too, that they love me, that I'm a sweet and good person. Yes, that I could live on my own. I'm glad people said that to you, Carmen. Patty, people who know me and care about me say I do well with researching, seed balls, reading, singing, and public speaking. James, I am a good person. Yes. And Mary, happy birthday. We also had information about the virtual Disability Pride Parade. I know we're going to share that a little bit later on before we close out our time together. Let's see here. And I like this. Thank you, Jenny. According to Dr. Seuss, be who you are and say how you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Yes, that's a great quote. And Tommy said, people who know him and care about him say he's a good worker. So thank you for that, everyone. Thank you for sharing.
All right, thanks so much. So this is a slide we saw a little bit ago before the break, and you'll notice that we have the same thing here. It says living a quality, meaningful life might mean having goals in some of the areas that we talked about being priorities for the state, right, and for self-advocacy. So when we think about goal setting, we want to be mindful of all the options that we have. And some of the ones we talked about before were power and choice, healthy relationships, health and wellness, community involvement, which could mean a lot of things, right? Community housing, transportation, work, and money, honey. So, Lindsay, if you're here, would you be able to read through our next question?
Yes.
All right.
Do you speak up and speak out for yourself?
All right. So do you speak up and speak out for yourself? Lindsay, are you a good self-advocate?
All right.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lindsay. And I'm seeing from other places, people are saying yes. AID, I saw you. You had yes. Ada S. McKinley. We've got people from TCRC and KCCDD. Wow, those are a lot of initials. People are saying yes. And in the chat box, they're saying yes as well. Thank you for speaking up and speaking out for yourself.
Okay, Lindsay, what's our next question?
I have healthy relationships.
Okay, so do you all have healthy relationships? Is this something that is important to you?
It's important. Very.
Why is it important, Lindsay?
It's healthy relationship. So you feel respected and understood.
Yeah, and I think someone talked about, I don't even know what day. Someone talked, I think Patty yesterday talked a little bit about, when your mental health is not in the right space, it can affect your physical health, right? And so if you're in an unhealthy relationship, that could have a lot of disastrous effects on your life in a lot of ways, right? So being in healthy relationships is something that we want to prioritize. Lindsay, what are some of the relationships that we have? Some of the kinds of relationships?
Friendships, family,
Yeah.
like dating partners and marriage.
Right. Yeah, coworkers, fellow
Yeah.
our bosses, people.
Therapist.
Yeah. So like paid staff, absolutely. All right, Christine, what are we hearing from folks in the chat?
We are hearing it from the chat and seeing that, yes, people have healthy relationships.
Wonderful. Okay, Lindsay, next question.
Do you have goals for health and wellness?
All right, so do folks have goals for health and wellness? And feel free to share in the chat, maybe what some of those goals are, or if you have goals around healthy relationships, or if you have goals around some of the things we're talking about, let us know what they are. We'd love to hear from you.
And this is Christine. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. And in the chat box, things are starting to come in. And this really goes with yesterday's Activating Advocacy for All rally sheet. Our question for Thursday was, my wellness goals are. So let's see. Folks said they want to lose weight, and that's hard because they like food. And we have some other drinking more water and walking more. Kevin says walking more and keeping track of my steps through the phone. Yeah, if you have a smart device, there's a lot of apps out there that can help you with health and wellness. Curtis would like to lose weight so he can live a long life and continue advocating. Thank you, Curtis. I believe in you. The branch says eating better recipes. Lindsay says eating healthy and using apps. Mary says eating healthy and drinking water and ending toxic relationships. Also, keeping my mental health in check. So, lots of things that people can do to be healthy and well.
Great. Okay, Lindsay.
Do you have opportunities to enjoy your community?
Yeah, so this kind of talks about, maybe there's some barriers for folks. Some people have transportation issues, but what is it like in engaging in your community? Lindsay, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you enjoy here in Evanston, where we live. What are some of the opportunities you have?
Opportunities are that transportation is good.
Yeah, so we do have lots of buses, and we have a subway here.
And a metro.
So what are some of the things that you like to do here in Evanston? What are your favorite?
Since there's not many things to do in Evanston, I usually take a bus like out to a movie theater or just like restaurants.
Oh, there's restaurants here. What about the beach? Do you go to the beach?
Yeah.
We also have like something called Fountain Square, where there's like a bunch of activities.
Yeah, I love that place.
Like music nights and movie nights.
And then we also have
food trucks.
That place down by the lake lagoon.
Skokie Lagoon.
No, the lagoon down here by Dawes Park.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff. What about in the chat? What are we hearing from folks, Christine?
Well, some people say, yes, we do have a lot of opportunities to enjoy our community. Other people are saying, not really. From one group, yes, we do. We go on outings. We call it HUB, HUB.
Oh,
Let's see, Ada S. McKinley says we have access to CTA, which stands for Chicago Transit Authority, and PACE. Uh, we also see that we explore a lot of places in our community. Curtis says we have access to PACE, paratransit, and Uber and Lyft. Michelle says she likes to explore her community with her friends.
oh, I love that. Beautiful. Okay, now we're gonna hear from Adam.
Do you like where you live? Can you see yourself living somewhere else in the future?
Okay, so this is about housing. So what are some of the goals people have around housing? Do you like where you live currently? Do you envision a different place for yourself? Adam, tell us a little bit about where you live. What are some of the pros and cons?
I think the pros are I like where I live because it's close to transportation.
Yeah.
I have a great organization I work with called Center for Independent Futures.
Mhm.
Let's see, though I don't see a lot of negatives in my community. I just
Woo!
like where I live.
Yeah, right. Where we live, there's a lot of disabled people who live independently. It's a cool place to live. And you have really cool roommates too. So you have your own room in a big house, but there's a lot of guys who live in your house, and so there's just a nice little community there, and you live really close to like the shops, and you can go walk to Starbucks if you wanted, or yeah, so that's nice. So what are other folks hearing? What are other folks saying, Christine?
Yes, a lot of folks do like where they live because they can go to places like the rec center, the library, take walks, and go to the farmers markets. Um, we have folks who say, I like where I live. It's peaceful. There's woods and trails, shopping, and everything is close by. Lindsay, I enjoy living here, and I feel like I'm going to keep staying here. Um, Folks said, we like where we live. We enjoy going to our day program at HRC Human Resource Center in Paris, Illinois. And then we do have someone who says, I really don't like where I live because of rude neighbors and unfriendly people. I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. Nobody likes rude neighbors and unfriendly people.
Ain't that the truth?
That's a big no.
Okay, Adam, what's our next question for folks?
Are you able to get around easily in your community? Is transportation available to you?
Okay, Christine, let us know what we're hearing.
Yeah. And some folks at Ada S. McKinley up in Chicago say, we have some yeses and nos as it relates to do you like where you live? And sometimes that's due to lack of store accessibility. Other folks in Pontiac say, we like living here. There's opportunities for shopping and activities, but one of the cons is no public transportation. Um, let's see. Lindsay says that she is able to get around easily in her community, that there is transportation available. Bob says yes. Becca says sometimes. Um, we have someone who says, yes, there's door to door transportation in their community. Curtis says there is a lack of accessible Uber and Lyft for people who are chair users, as well as use walkers and scooters. And at TCRC, I like where I live. We get to do activities together.
Great. Okay, Adam.
Do you have an employment goal?
Yeah, so let's talk about employment. Do folks like if you're working, do you like where you're working? Do you see what's your dream job? What are some of the goals people have around employment?
All right. So someone said yes, they like their job. Becca says yes, she likes her job. We still have some folks chiming in on the transportation, that there is accessible transportation in their communities. Lindsay says there's not a whole lot of opportunities for employment. Jenny would like to work for a disability rights organization.
Ooh,
Talisha would like to work at McDonald's.
okay.
Kevin would like to work in social work. So if any of you have any ideas out there, go ahead and put those in the chat box, and Kevin can avail himself of those ideas. See if anybody else is going to chime in. Bob likes to work. All right. Oh, and here we go. I think this might have been for Talisha, who said she wanted a job at McDonald's. Someone put in the McDonald's website.
Okay. Great.
Curtis says yes, he would like to work, but there's barriers such as Social Security, affordable supportive housing, and home-based services, as well as a lack of accommodations for flexible hours.
Mhm.
All right, we have another person, Carmen, who'd like to work at Dairy Queen. We have other people who would like to work at Burger King, a daycare, or Wendy's. And Becca would also like to advocate. And when you are showing your Zoom cards or you are sharing what you want in your chat box or as part of your rally handout, you are advocating.
Okay, Adam.
Do you want to make and save more money?
Oh, this is a good one. Adam, what do you think?
Yes, I want to work and save more money.
Yeah, make more money and save more money. Love
All right, we are seeing lots of yeses to that. And we have such a wide variety of the type of jobs people would like to do. So we have someone who wants to be an Amazon salesman and work from home. Patty, a dream job would be working in the medical field because I love researching things about health. James would like to work in a janitorial position. We have a person at TCRC who would like to work with animals. Let's see, Kim would like to work with children. Jenny says the biggest barrier is that even disability rights organizations want to hire someone who is good at interpersonal communication, flexibility, and other soft skills that are a challenge for me and others with my disability. Mike wants to work at Target. We got some people who want more money, and Curtis wants to save more money. TCRC Morton Springboard. Yes, yes, yes. Human, let's see. HRC in Paris. Yes, we do. We have people wanting to work with dogs. And I'm thinking BWs might be Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, great. Okay, so now we're gonna think about our goals in terms of, you know, what do we need to do? So now we know that a lot of you are really passionate about the goals that you have. So how do you make those goals a reality? One of the ways that we do that is by speaking up and speaking out, right? We use the pieces of the self-advocacy puzzle to think about who we need to talk to, you know, and all of those things, right? But here's another tool for your toolbox, and this is an action plan. If you've seen an action plan before, tell us by using your card. So an action plan is just, it's a tool that basically helps you break down all the steps that you need to take in order to achieve your goal. So we're actually going to do an action, we're going to create an action plan here. All right. So, Christine, can you confirm that you see the sample action plan on your screen?
I do. I can see the sample action plan and I can't wait to fill this out.
All right. So we need to pick a goal. Christine, do you have any thoughts, or Adam, do you have thoughts on what goal we should action plan? So we heard a lot of folks who want to get community jobs. So maybe there's something around a community job, or Adam, do you have any thoughts?
How about community services?
Okay. Christine, any thoughts?
Oh, I agree with Adam. I think that people are really talking about community and about community employment. And how about we do a goal around finding a community job? You think we could do that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so Adam, let's work through this. And then Lindsay, if you're still here, I'd love for you to chime in as well. Let's see. If you want to unmute yourself, Lindsay.
Yes.
Derek, if you want to unmute yourself. So what are some of the things that we need to do in order to find a community job?
Make sure you know where to get one.
Okay. So think about what kinds of jobs that you want.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to add that to the what column. So these are all the things that we need to do, and then we'll assign who's going to do them. Okay. So Derek, what are some other things that we need to do to get a community job? I see him coming off.
Sorry about that. I had to get to my mute button.
No, it's okay.
Other thing, community, I think more better transportation.
So think about maybe like where the jobs are.
Yeah.
And how you would get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to make sure that the job is going to work out for you, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's a really good one. And then, Adam, what's another thing that we need to do to get a job in the community?
We can look up different like websites or advertisements that can help us know what kind of jobs are out there.
Okay, so look on different websites and check advertisements, okay, to see there's something in the community that's available. Bob Peterson, I see that you're off. You want to share anything about jobs?
Yeah, if it's a part-time job, affect your benefits.
Yes. Okay. So I'll put you on mute. I know we got some background noise. Christine, if you could mute folks, causing issues. So being thoughtful about the logistics, right? So is the job going to affect your benefits? So I would say that you would want to check in with Christine. What is the resource where folks can get career counseling around benefits?
Perhaps with Social Security, and they can help you with that.
There's like an organization that does that. We should definitely add that as a resource.
All right.
Tara, this is JJ, and I believe it's the Illinois Division of Rehabilitation Services, or DRS.
Right, but there's also like benefits counselors, specifically that help people with IDD and disabilities manage this. So we will definitely find that resource and send it out to folks. So yeah, and I would say thinking about what your commitment could be, right? So thinking about part-time versus full-time, or what hours you work best for you. What are some other things that we want to be aware of when we're picking out jobs for ourselves?
Tara? What about like what you're interested in doing?
Yeah. Decide what you are interested in. So if you're interested in dogs and cats, you might not want to work at the ice cream shop. I don't know, maybe you do. There might be a lot of opportunities for you, and just kind of thinking about what works for you. So these are some good steps. Is there anything we're missing? So let's review. We've got, think about what kinds of jobs you want, where the jobs are and how you would get there. So transportation, look on different websites and check advertisements. Think about benefits and any issues that might arise with, losing benefits. Thinking about what your commitment could be. So, is it full-time, part-time, what time of day? Decide what you're interested in, and then what do we actually have to do once we find the jobs?
Well, I am going to let you know here that Becca says you have to call for an interview.
Yes. You gotta submit an application or your resume.
Yes.
You have a resume and you need one.
And from KCCDD, another question to ask yourselves is, so I want a job maybe working with animals or in an ice cream shop. What kind of skills do I need? Is there something I need to learn about in order to go for that job?
So what kind of skills do I have, and what skills does this job require, right?
Yes. Curtis, along with the submit an application or a resume, Curtis reminds us, got to make a cover letter.
Oh, yes. All right. So then if we submit an application or a resume, what happens after that? Is there anything we would want to do in terms of like following up?
We might want to practice interviewing skills.
Whoa.
We got that. We also had someone say network. Ask your friends and family if they know of any jobs that are available.
I love that.
Margie Harkness shared some wonderful advice. Definitely talk with a benefits counselor. In Chicago, call the mayor's office for people with disabilities. It's another agency for the rest of Illinois. So we're going to get that link and share.
I got just what if you go to a workshop, the workshop have an employment service, you could go to that too.
Mm.
Good job.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you, Tavares. That is a really critical point, that if you are receiving community day services, which I see a lot of you are entitled to get support to work in the community. You don't have to work at a sheltered workshop. Your organization legally has a responsibility to teach you about the things that are available to you and help you prepare for community employment. So if that's something that you're interested, you should tell your case managers or your staff that you want a job in the community, and they will help you find one, okay?
Yes, we also have folks who say, don't forget to write a thank you letter after your interview. Another person said, get professional clothes for the interview. And if you work in a workshop or at a community day services, you will receive career counseling. So thank you for all those suggestions. And Kevin says He has a resume and cover letter and an appointment on Monday. So we're going to hold out good thoughts for you, Kevin.
Yes, awesome. All right, so now that we know all the things that we need to do, the next column that we would need to fill out is who, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Whew. Okay, maybe not. Who is gonna do the task and by when? And the last column is, are there any notes? So I would say if it depends on the goal, right? Sometimes we use action plans in group settings where we might be dividing up some of these tasks. For this particular action plan, I would say if you're the one trying to get a job, you're mostly going to be doing the things, right? You're probably going to ask for some support from folks. Maybe it's a friend or a family or a staff person or a career counselor, but you're probably going to be the one doing most of this stuff. So I would say if you're using this to find a job, you would want to maybe think about some deadlines that you would want to have certain things done by. The other thing you could do is sort of go in and like move these around to have them go in a certain order. So maybe you wouldn't want to write your thank you note before you have before you've kind of picked out a place that you want to work and had an interview. Does that make sense for folks? And I want to make sure that this is a helpful resource. And again, this is going to be in the Google Drive folder that we send out. So you will all have access to this as well as many other resources. And Christine, I think if you could make a note that we put in some of those employment like readiness resources that we have through the ambassador program, we can just throw those in there too for folks if that would be helpful. Okay, I'm seeing a nod. All right, so I'm going to go back to our presentation and tell us in the chat if that was helpful.
All right, so if that was helpful, let us know. And maybe you've done some action planning before, like Tara mentioned. Sometimes we action plan around having a picnic, or our self-advocacy group may action plan around an activity or event. But action planning can be used just personally or for a team or for a group. And let's see, Michelle says yes. And we have someone else who said, love all the interaction and tips. Yes, Ada McKinley says, yes, that was very helpful. Action plans are good for all kinds of stuff. Yes, so thank you. And if you are not an action planning kind of person, that's okay. We each get to decide what works best for us. And if you can use it, great. And if it doesn't work for you, that's great too.
All right, thanks everyone. So we want to fill your toolbox, right? We've got all these things that can help us speak up and speak out. So another resource we have that the Alliance created is this handout called Got Time, Advocating for an Issue or Concern. And again, you'll have access to this for sure. But basically, this is just, a 2-pager that gets you thinking about what can you do in a certain amount of time? So if you have 5 minutes, then maybe you could share about an issue or concern, or really anything that's on your mind related to self-advocacy with one other person. And you could post something on social media, make copies of information about an issue that you want to share about. You can send one email about the issue, or get a person to sign a petition. So this is really just some helpful ideas that people can use with their advocacy groups if they have 5, 15, 30 minutes, an hour, or maybe a half a day. So we encourage you all to look through this, and I'm just going to kind of scan here, Christine, if there's some things you want to highlight in particular. Let's see, you could share with your staff or your organization, and that's always something that we want to encourage too, right? Making some changes where we receive services, or writing a letter to someone, or making a call. We also have here, plan a rally. We're on the rally right now, but maybe create some art representing the issue or concern, or connect with other people. So this is a really great resource. Whoa, all right, what a week. We're starting to wind down now. We're almost at the end, and so we want to celebrate all the wins that we've had today and talk through a little bit about what we've done over the past week. And please share in the chat what some of your favorite things were and what you really got out of the week, and if there's any feedback you have. So on Monday, we learned all about the Alliance. We talked about the pieces of the self-advocacy puzzle, and we really had opportunities to speak up and speak out. So that was really fun. Okay, Lindsay, what did we do on Tuesday?
On Tuesday, let's see. Rights and empowerment.
Yeah, so we learned about rights. We heard from Equip for Equality and had lots of opportunities to speak up and speak out. Okay, Adam, oh, this was a big day, Wednesday. What did we talk about on Wednesday?
Legislative advocacy, systems advocacy, how to find your legislators, how a bill becomes a law, how to file a witness slip, important pieces of disability legislation, 2021 to 2022 legislative priorities, speak up and speak out.
Woo, that was a big day. Okay, and then on, wait. Okay, on Thursday, we talked about wellness. So Jin walked us through COVID safety, healthy living, healthy eating and exercise, movement and exercise, mental health and stress reduction, breathing and relaxation. Oh, I love that part. That was so fun. Thinking about the leaves and the river. That was so cool. Relationships and sexuality wellness, advocating for your health and wellness, and self-care. And then Adam, tell us about let's do a little overview of what we did today.
Call to action, the future of self-advocacy, the future of services in Illinois, the future of self-advocacy, goal setting, action planning, rally recap.
Beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to Christine to take us home. She's going to walk us through our handouts. Take it away, Christine.
All right, so get out that Activating Advocacy for All rally handout. We have used this a whole lot this week. I've really enjoyed looking at this and hearing from you. So Tara, if you go to the next slide, you are the future of self-advocacy. And I want you to write down, I will be the future of self-advocacy by. So how are you going to be the future of self-advocacy? Maybe it's about learning about your rights. Maybe it's about speaking up about your rights. Maybe you haven't quite yet decided how you're going to be the future of self-advocacy, and that's okay. And we can decide we want to be the future doing one thing today, and we might decide tomorrow, I'm going to do something else. Choice is good. Changing your mind is good. So how will you be the future of self-advocacy? If anybody wants to share, I would love to hear about it. All right. So someone's going to be the future of self-advocacy by legislating. Let's see. Oh, wow. We have the power activating advocacy for all. We've got a Facebook group if somebody wants to join. Lindsay's going to tell others about self-advocacy. Mary is going to speak out for her rights. Curtis is going to take care of his health first so that he can become an effective self-advocate. All right. And I hope that you continue to use your rally handout. Whether you're using it during the discovery part of your person-centered planning process, you share it during a person-centered planning meeting, you share it with a trusted person in your life, whether that's a family member or friend, maybe it's a staff person. Yes, Tavares, we are the future. Kevin says he's going to keep on reaching out to educate. TCRC, speaking up for others who cannot speak. So thank you so much. Go ahead and let's go to the next slide. As we round the corner and head for home, how are you feeling? Use that rally card to share how you're feeling. Are you feeling, yes, I'm feeling good? Are you feeling, no, I'm tired. I don't want the rally to end. Are you feeling awesome? Are you activating advocacy for all? All right, Becca is feeling awesome. I see some other awesomes. Yes. However you're feeling, that's right for you, and no one can tell you that it's wrong. Next slide. So we're going to celebrate. Woo! Are we ever going to celebrate? I am celebrating. I really celebrated each and every day that we got to learn with and from each other. But this just really is a huge celebration for all of us. Next slide. Well, one of the ways you can keep on celebrating is at the Disability Pride Parade. Now, the Disability Pride Parade isn't able to be held live and in person because of COVID, but it still will be held tomorrow, which is Saturday, July 24th at 11 o'clock in the morning. And you can find it on Facebook or YouTube. It will be live streamed. You can go to the website below and check out the details. So the website is www.disabilitypride.org. Yes. And there is nothing stopping Disability Pride. Not COVID, not technology issues. Nothing is stopping us. Next slide. So I know that many of you have been sharing in the chat box what you liked about the Alliance rally, and I'm going to read some of those. All right, I have to scroll back to because we've talked about a lot of things. So we have people who really liked the exercise parts. Jermaine liked Jada's talk. I'm with you, Jermaine. We have someone who really liked the impact of the Alliance work and that the power of rights and advocacy. Tommy liked everything. Raymond liked learning about rights. Patty, her favorite part was helping with the wellness presentation. James said, my favorite part was joining my peers and learning new things. I agree with you, James. I like that too. We have some other folks who said, we have learned a lot throughout the week. We just can't choose one. Donald liked the exercises. Becca says, great information all around. Lindsay enjoyed hearing everything as well as hearing from others. Kevin liked all the resources, the speakers using Zoom, facts about puns, the peers, the positive energy. All right, let's see. Oh man, yeah, it is hard to pick just one thing that we liked best. Ada S. McKinley is going to continue to promote healthy lifestyles, to speak up more, to tell other people about self-advocacy. Jay Jen has a great reminder for us all. Your voice matters. Thank you all for helping teach us all this week. All right. So next slide. Well, we talked about this a little bit, what you're going to advocate for after today. And so hopefully you join the Alliance when we have some other big campaigns happening based on what you have shared. We also hope that you advocate for some of the things that we won't work on as a group, but maybe you'll work on yourself or with your self-advocacy group, or you just gather a group of like-minded people and you find ways to speak up and speak out about the things that are important to you. Next slide. Oh, go back. Oh, I forgot to do the drum roll. All right, so we have our rally winner. Actually, we have 2 self-advocate rally winners today. And so let's check out the first one with the drum roll and go to that next slide. So our first self-advocate rally drawing winner for today is Tammy. Tammy is from Human Resource Center of Clark and Edgar counties in Paris, Illinois. Congratulations, Tammy. You are one of today's self-advocate winners. Noelle Ann King from the Alliance will be contacting you to find out what gift certificate you choose for your rally prize. And our second self-advocate winner for today is Vincent Smith from Chicago, Illinois. Congratulations, Vincent. You are our second self-advocate winner of today's rally drawing. And Noelle Ann King will be reaching out to you to find out which rally gift certificate that you choose. And I know we got a little bit of a sneak peek from our staff and professional winner today, and that is Kira Meskin from Progress Center for Independent Living in Park Forest, Illinois. Congratulations, Kira. You are today's rally drawing winner for staff and professionals. Congratulations to all of our winners throughout the week. And Tara, why don't you close us out as the awesome project director for the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance? We couldn't do it without you as the leader. And most importantly, we can't do it without all of you who made this rally such a success.
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to first thank the Alliance team, the board, all the self-advocates who made this happen. This was such a dream come true for us. We're so excited that we were able to do a virtual event with providing so much content. Thank you all for attending and participating and providing feedback, and that's been really fun for me to see and to hear from you all about your hopes and dreams and what you care about. We just want to thank you all so much, and feel free to connect with us if you need any help with anything or you have other ideas. My email is tara.advocacy@gmail.com. If you want to get our listserv, if you want to be on our mailing list, email info@selfadvocacyalliance.org. Feel free to check out our website and follow and like us on Facebook. We are so happy that this week has been so awesome. So thank you all, and we hope to see you soon. Continue to speak up and speak out.